Hello and welcome to the third video that we have prepared regarding asset management in Dynamics 365. Today I'm going to talk about the unplanned or corrective maintenance in asset management. The last time we saw how you can handle planned maintenance, and today it will be more about unplanned maintenance. And in the coming videos, we'll get back to how we can process the work orders and how we can get some analysis. In asset management, the way that we handled unplanned maintenance is through the concept of maintenance request. A maintenance request is simply a way to register or report that we've seen something that might or might not require a work order. So it's a step before the work order. And then I will show you how we can convert it into a work order, and I'll also show you some analysis tools that are available for handling this. So basically, a maintenance request, there's a workspace in Dynamics 365 where you can handle it and get an overview of all the requests that have come in. You can create a request from the workspace. We have it here. I'll show you in a minute. You can update the priority of the request, or you can simply reject it. Some cases when you register a request, maybe more people have seen the same problem, so you have already taken care of it. You've already created a work order. Then when the next request comes for the same problem, you can then decide to simply reject it. So the request is a substitute for post-it notes where the people that observe problems or request something that needs to be done on the assets, they can register this in a systematic and structured way. But it's always up to the maintenance manager or the maintenance supervisor to decide if it actually becomes a work order. So a maintenance request is not a work order. It's simply a way of registering a potential or a problem. When the work order is created from the request, there's actually this link that's handled automatically. So for instance, when the work order is started, that can be reflected in the status for the request. So you can see now it's in progress. And similarly, when the work order is completed, that can be reflected automatically back to the request. So you can see that the request has now also been closed. So there's actually quite some link between the requests and the work orders. But it's important to notice that request is something that anybody can do, but work orders is something that only the maintenance supervisor or the maintenance manager, those are the people that actually decide if this becomes a work order. There are basically two ways that you can create a request. You can do it from the workspace. I'll show you that in a minute. Or you can do it from the mobile power app. So if you have people walking around with the mobile phone or a tablet out in the field, then instead of going into the office to register this, then they can actually use the mobile power app to report a problem that they've seen. Let's try to have a look at that. So in Dynamics 365, in the asset management, there is a workspace for handling maintenance requests. So we can see here we have 7 active maintenance requests. We have active maintenance requests. We have them here, but we have 4 where we have not yet created a work order. So that's something that I could have a look at and look into. But I can also do here, I can create a maintenance request. Something has just been reported. When I create a maintenance request, I have to decide a type. And in this case, I think we need a repair. I put in a problem and I describe it. So the conveyor belt is loose, and then I pick the asset where I found the problem. Here we go. And in this particular case, I actually get a warning because somebody has already registered that the conveyor belt is damaged. So I'm actually in the process of creating a duplicate, maybe, or maybe it's not a duplicate. So in this case, I'm just gonna let it go, and because it's damaged, but I've also seen that it's loose. So I will continue to create this particular maintenance request. I can then assign it a service level. A service level is similar to a priority. It tells me the urgency of the problem. But even if I think it's urgent, when we create the work order, we can always assign it another service level. So this is just my point of view. I think it's a medium problem, or maybe I think it's an urgent problem. I can also here report the faults. So, and the faults are always related to the type of asset that I'm reporting. So it doesn't make sense to talk about pressure on a scale maybe, but it does make sense to talk about pressure on a machine. So the fault codes are related to the asset type. In this case, I can say that we have excessive noise and the fault area is probably in mechanical, and the fault type is, it seems like there's a defect. So these are just my initial findings when I put in the request. I can always change this later. But the good thing about this is that instead of having a post-it on my desk, somebody has already done a lot of these orchestrations that makes it much more easy for me to simply convert it to a work order should I decide to do so. I can see here who was registered and the actual start, and I can also put in additional notes if I want to. And I press OK. So I've now registered a maintenance request, and it automatically opens the request for me in Dynamics 365 so I can continue processing. Another way for me to handle it is to use the mobile device. I'm just going to find it here. So this is a simulation of my mobile phone. Give it a second. So this is the asset management mobile power app. And you can see I have here my work orders, and I'll get back to that in the next video where I'll talk a bit more about how we actually process the work orders. But for this video, I'm just going to use the mobile device to create a maintenance request. So I simply press here, and I can either create a work order, but in this case, I'm going to do a request for maintenance. In some customers, they would have a barcode on the asset, so you can simply scan it, but I don't have that, so I'll need to pick one. I'm just going to pick this particular forklift. Then I have to put in a description. So in this case, the forklift wheel is flat. And I can assign a service level and the request type. But what I can also do, very simple, is to add photos. So I'm going to add a photo. And I'm simply just going to take a picture of my desktop here. And then I'll submit it. So in this case, I'm actually using the mobile application, and it tells me here that it's now created a maintenance request with this number. So let's just open that again and see. If we go to all the maintenance requests, this is the one that we just created from the mobile device. And we can also see here that we have it attached, and that's the image, the photo that we uploaded. So these are the two ways that you can handle maintenance requests. I actually think it's kind of neat that you have both options to do that. Let's continue with the presentation. The next step, once we have all the maintenance requests, this is a regular job. I'll need to look at the maintenance requests coming in on a regular basis. And then it's up to me to decide if I want to convert them to a work order. Maintenance requests are actually added automatically as work order proposals as soon as you've specified the job type. So this is a screenshot of the work order proposals, and you can see here that all of these comes from maintenance plans. A maintenance plan for a mixer or a forklift, but this one comes from a maintenance request. So a maintenance request is just as much a work order proposal as a planned work order. It also means that I can automatically combine my work order proposal. So for instance, if I have to go to my forklift to do service, and I also have a maintenance request to check the wheel, then I can combine the two into one work order. That's kind of neat also. Let's have a look at that. So in this case, I had the problem here, and we need to put in a job type. Here it is. I need to say what type of job do I expect that we need to do. I expect we need to do a repair job. So if I open my open maintenance schedule lines, you can actually see here that this is a work order proposal. For a forklift number 2, it's a repair job, and in this case, it comes from a maintenance request. So that's basically the difference between a request and a maintenance plan, that they can both create work order proposals. Once we have the maintenance request, let's just go back to the workspace that we had. Once I've had a chance to look at these, I can then decide if I want to convert it or reject it. So for instance, I could say this particular one, once I've had a look at it, I can decide I want to reject it. That could be because I know it's already been fixed, or it's going to be fixed next week during service, or maybe it's a duplicate, as we can see here. I simply reject it. And the way that you reject it is that you switch it to a state. In this case, I switch it to a state rejected. And I press OK. And I just update here. And you can see now it's disappeared, because a rejected maintenance request is no longer an active request. I don't have to do anything more about it. But I can also say I want to create work orders. And again, I can take them individually, or I can take them multiple of them. But let's just take this one. The conveyor belt is loose. I want to create a work order. I have to now decide, do I agree that the service level is 5, as was stated originally on the maintenance request, but I can now change and say I think it's a high. And then I have to select a maintenance job type. In this case, it will be a repair. And based on the service level, the system will automatically calculate some expected start and end date. So for instance, if I select a higher, another service level, let's say it's a medium, you can see here it switched to, then we can wait to start tomorrow, but and then you have two days to finish the job. So depending on the service level, the system can automatically create some expected start and end dates. But I can also, I can simply change them and say, yeah, but it's fine if you do it by April 30th, that's fine. So you can always edit these. These are just calculated values, and then you can change them. I'm gonna press OK. So in this case, the system will automatically create a work order, and you can see right here that that's the work order that I got for that particular maintenance request. Let's go back to the presentation. Once we've done all this, you actually have some analytics. So as part of the workspace, you can get some analytics or some request insights based on the registrations that you've made, and you can also get some false statistics. So let's have a look at that. You can see here, this is the workspace for the maintenance request, but up here, besides the workspace, we also have analytics. And the analytics is some Power BI, and in this case, it's a selection that Microsoft had decided that this is what the analytics that they thought could be interesting, but these could also be customized or changed by you. So this is more like a graphical view that tells us how many active maintenance requests do we have, what are the requests by life cycle state. For instance, we can see that 7 has been rejected, there are 19 used, 12 finished, and how did we handle them, that maybe 2 of them were that was a service requirement, but the other were repair. So this is more like an analytic way of looking at the maintenance requests as they are coming in and as they are processed. So this was the third video that we prepared out of 6. If you want to know more, if you want to watch the rest of the videos, please join us at the webinars folder on our website, or contact us. We'll be happy to talk to you and give you more information if you have found an interest to know more. Thank you very much for your time.